Okay. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so today we will continue with the reading of the Nevermind Game book by Sasana Dipika, the late Venerable Khanti Khema. And for those of you who are interested, last week we read through the preface and the chapter 1 of this book, and that has been uploaded onto YouTube. So chapter 2, title, 5 Steps to a Smiling Mind. Okay. 5 Steps to a Smiling Mind. So Venerable Khema starts with the commentary. To let go of suffering, we first need to understand how it works. That's the only way we are going to be able to catch it when it starts, so we can let go and replace it with an uplifting change. The only way we are going to believe how suffering works is to see it for ourselves and understand its underlying causes. So you need to experience this for yourself. Are you ready, Q? So for those of us who are not familiar with Venerable Sister Khema's writings, she quite commonly uses a kind of question and answer format in her writings. And Q is this character depicted that asks the questions. So you can think of Q as a student, or even someone who, it could be someone from your family who might be asking these questions, or a friend, or even an acquaintance. So Q represents, people that you come into contact with. So I will continue here. So Q says, I have lots of questions. If I do this, will I still remain stuck with suffering, or will the suffering stop altogether? If I change it with a smile, will life around me change too? Do I personally have the power inside me to change this downward trend of my mind? This is a very common question that we can expect. Actually, not just from ourselves who are reading the book, but actually, if we come across someone and have this similar kind of conversation, it's a very typical, common question. So Venerable Khema replies, the best way to find out is not to simply read this book or decide to take my word for it. I'm only a guide. So those of us who are not new to TWIM, Tranquil Wisdom Insight Meditation, will know that in this tradition, way of teaching, Bhante Vimalaramsi, Venerable Sister Khema, commonly describe themselves as just guides, and we are our own teacher, and they are our guides that point us in the direction of the path. Once I show you how suffering works, it is your own practice that will help you understand this process in your mind. Be patient. I promise all your questions will be answered. You will only learn this new knowledge well enough to keep it going when you personally watch and see it working in yourself. That is why this is called a practice. When you begin using the Nevermind game as a simple practice, it will answer all your questions and assuage your doubts. Sorry for my English. I'm not too. I've seen this word before, but I'm not sure if I pronounce it correctly. So, um, native speakers out there perhaps can help me a little bit here. Uh, your mind will begin to establish an upward trend, and you will experience what it's like to change your perspective at will. So then Q starts getting curious. Will it make any difference if I have already been practicing TWIM? So this is another common question that some of us ask as well. And you can see as you read this book, when I'm just imagining, I could be wrong, but I'm just imagining when Venerable Sister Khema put this book together, my imagination could be wrong, was that she put it together based on, the common questions that she received from TWIM students across the many years that she and Bhante Vimalaramsi had been teaching. So Q's question is, will it make a difference if I have already been practicing TWIM? Venerable Khema's reply is, if you have learned the tranquil wisdom insight meditation before, you may have already experienced some relief from your suffering. This game is so compact, you will like it even more. However, if you haven't been practicing TWIM, you can still learn this game and experience the same relief. So, no worries. You don't need any prior meditation experience to play the Nevermind game. By following 5 simple steps repeatedly throughout the day, you will experience the same inner tranquility as TWIM. So now Q asks, how is that? And Venerable Khema's reply is, whenever anything distracts you from a task you are doing in life, this means you have engaged a hindrance. A hindrance is a distraction that prevents you from focusing on your work. Whenever a distraction arises, this practice can help you immediately change your mental state if you can quickly remember to think, never mind. It doesn't matter what kind of distraction arises. The moment you sense a feeling of tension coming up inside, you perform these 5 steps. So now we will go through the 5 steps. Any questions so far from today's audience? So far, so good? Okay. So what are the 5 steps? Number 1, anytime you recognize tension and tightness arising in the mind, you should immediately think, never mind. This signals the mind to let go of what came up. So those of us who are familiar with TWIM would know that this is the first step in the 6 R's to recognize the tension and tightness that arises in the mind and also in the body. And the reason being is craving manifests as tension and tightness in the mind and in the body. So the moment we recognize, and if we can immediately think, never mind that tension, whatever it is, if we can just immediately, build that habit. And those of us who are familiar with what some research has shown about building habits in the mind and the concept of neural plasticity, which Venerable Sister Khema had introduced us to, and this concept, this research topic on neuroplasticity is not new, and I've been talking to a couple of colleagues, people I know at work, and although they are not, let's say, practitioners or meditators even, but they understand how it works, and it's just about getting the brain to build a habit consistently until it becomes a nature of it, like it automatically does it. So it's the same. It's pretty much falls on the same principle. So anytime we recognize this tension, tightness arise, we want to basically train our mind or train our brain to just go, never mind. And if we can do it consistently enough over a period of time, and some research says, 60 days, whatever it is, if we can do it, it gets into an automatic state after that, or the inertia of not doing that grows less and less. So then step 2 basically is relax your head to dismiss any leftover tension. Don't spend any time thinking about the issue. So it's very important that when we recognize, never mind, relax. Because the more we spend time thinking about what could be the cause of the tension, why is the tension arising, it very quickly then spirals into mental proliferation. And then you have the whole links of dependent origination play out very quickly. So don't spend any time thinking about the issue. As you let go and relax, by exhaling any leftover breath you were holding in, you might notice a little drop down deeper feeling in your head the moment you do this. This is very interesting, and especially so for students who are typically more sensitive to the state of the body or state of the mind. So students who are more sensitive would be able to detect this. And it's actually a very tiny, short period of time. But even if we're not able to notice that, personally, I think it's no big deal. Just remember to recognize, never mind, and then let go and relax is already a big help. Now, the next step is actually pretty important. Number 3, smile. So important. Smile to lighten up your mind. An uplifted mind sharpens your awareness. So I try to remind myself this a lot throughout the day. And it's very helpful. It really doesn't cost anything, and it really is quite quick. And that there is some research a couple of years ago where people in universities were studying a group of people who they had a kind of research group where they tested, well, probably hooked up all these machines onto the brains of this study group, and asked a group of people. They don't necessarily need to have a tendency to smile or even feel like wanting to smile. What they were asked to do was just put a pen or pencil in between their lips, and then use their mouth to grip it, and that kind of emulates the action of smiling. And it was a very interesting result. So if anyone's interested, just Google something like I can't remember, but something about um, effects of smiling, or something like that. I remember Googling it up a couple of years ago and found some different research, and I think people are really hopping into that idea. It's a very useful tool, especially the effects are greater when we are encountering difficult circumstances or difficult situations. So when we're having a good day, let's say, or a smooth sailing day, and if we're smiling, it's okay. I mean, it's natural. But when we're having a particularly challenging scenario or particularly so-called difficult day, and in that moment, if we're able to remember to just put a smile on our face, just remember to smile, the effect can be quite interesting to observe in the mind. So I'd like to invite everyone to try that out, just to see what happens in the mind when we smile, just at that moment. So after we do that, then step number four, come back to whatever you were doing before the tension arose. So before the tension that we recognize arose, had arisen in the mind and the body, we were perhaps engaging in a particular task, or it could be even during our formal meditation sitting. So sometimes we are just sitting, we are doing our loving kindness or forgiveness meditation, or whatever our object meditation is. And as we're doing it, all of a sudden, tension arises. Could be in the mind, could be in the body. So it's useful to also use this technique, whether in the formal sitting or in a day-to-day task. Then repeat this cycle of 5 simple steps throughout the day. Whenever mind's attention moves away from what you are doing in the present time task. Essentially, you are going to learn to live in your present time during each day. So this sentence, although it sounds very simple, actually, if we are actively and consistently training ourselves to do these few steps throughout the day, every day, this sentence about learning how to live in our present time during each day, it actually I'm trying to think of a word. Maybe someone in the today's audience can help me out here, but it gives a different perspective. like we start to see the world differently. Not sure if that sounds correct. Maybe can someone help me out here just for the benefit of the listeners? Maybe can I invite oh, we have a chat. Outlook. Yeah, I think well, I can't say much for others. So just to share um, my own experience, we start to change our perspective and outlook, Pi, as you put it, towards the world. Well, the world it's too big a word, but maybe even what's happening to us throughout the day. Somehow, uh, difficult to explain. Does anyone else have a comment or something they'd like to share here? So essentially, these steps we've just covered are also the 6 R's or right effort, depending on how you want to see it. But would anyone here like to comment on this last part that we spoke about here? Brother Sachinji, if I can call upon
Yes,
you.
yes, May. Just I have in mind that like whenever Bante's book also it says that whenever we are away from the object of meditation, we are going very far from our from the meditation, and we are actually not walking on the path. And when as soon as we do 6 hours, we are back to the object of meditation. Then we are walking on the path, and each hindrance which we are removing, like we are going moving forward in the path of nibbana.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, that's a very nice way of looking at it. I have to admit, I must have missed that when I was listening to Bante's talks. But yeah, that's a very um accurate way of describing it, I guess. When we no longer when we get caught up in our hindrances, we are in a way like dragged away from the path or the direction. So when we bring ourselves back using the 6 R's, it's like poop. Oh, you know, it's almost like this is not a very good representation. I'm just trying to think of ways to help people out, but it's almost like we're switching when we're watching, say, a television channel or something. It's almost like we were, let's say, on the path and then we got distracted by a hindrance. It's almost like we switched channels almost because the whole perspective changed. And then once we remember to 6 hours, like, poop, oh, we're back to the channel we were before. Not a very good analogy, but yeah. Anyway, let's continue. So these are the 5 steps of how to play the Nevermind game. All the steps together should take no more than 2 to 3 seconds to complete. Do not dwell on any one of them. Simply do them all in a single sweeping motion like a dance. So this is very important. And I remembered when I first tried to do TWIM, even after I'd gone for a retreat, the habitual tendency where especially when the tension and tightness is so strong or the hindrance is so strong, the habitual tendency to just get stuck in the relaxed state, the mind is like, I need to relax and keep relaxing in order to let the tension go away. It was just so strong and never really got on to the next few steps. And it really doesn't help. In fact, in some instances, the hindrance gets bigger and bigger. The tension gets more and more bigger, harder, more painful, whatever it is. So it's really crucial, very important to run through the steps in a very short period of time. And it's quite nice of Venerable Sister Khema to liken it to a dance. Very nice. Makes it a bit lively. Only use these steps when mind's attention cannot stay with a present time task. Arising obstacles only become obstructions when we give them our personal attention. By removing personal attention of a distraction, you are taking away the food it needs to get stronger. Each time we remove our personal attention from a distraction and relax, we are taking away that nutriment. So this is another very important sentence to keep in mind. So I just repeat that here. Each time we remove our personal attention from a distraction and relax, we are taking away that nutriment. So the nutriment that feeds the distraction to go stronger and stronger. That's what we're taking away. So then Q asks, what is nutriment? It's a good question. And Venerable Khema then replies, nutriment is food. Distractions need food to continue to bother us. The food for a hindrance is my personal attention. If I don't pay attention to the distraction, it gets weaker. Then it fades away. By repeating the 5 steps in the same way every time, we purify our brain. So the key word here, I think, is repeating the 5 steps in the same way every time. So the brain learns things through repetition, and this has been proven scientifically, and the scientists are using this understanding and the concepts of neuroplasticity to heal people, and so it works that way, really. And my personal experience with teaching music to kids is I use a lot of this concept. I, of course, restructure it a little bit different so that it's easier for kids with no meditation background, no twin background. So I repackage it a little bit and use it to teach music, and it does work. As long as it gets applied in the same way, because it's all based on the same principle of repeating the steps in the same way every time. Basically, retraining the brain is what we're doing. So by replacing the distraction with an uplifting smile, we are retraining our brain by building a new behavior pathway. So it's typically what we do. Gradually, our brain realizes what we want it to do. It begins letting go automatically instead of holding on to distractions. Mind begins letting go, relaxing, smiling, and coming back to whatever our task is in the present time. So this is a training program for our brain that purifies it by relieving the tension that leads to stress and retrains the mind to stay in the present time. Saying never mind lets things go. The brain learns fast. Yeah, that's actually quite true. The brain learns fast. As long as we do it in the same way each time, every time, um, because it's repetition. How quickly this practice becomes routine depends entirely on how well we can practice the 5 steps in the same sequential way every single time. So again, Venerable Sister Khema re-emphasized this, but there's a reason I feel why this has been emphasized, because it's really important that it's practiced in the same sequential way. So the recognize, release, relax, or let go, or recognize, never mind, it comes together, and release, relax, we smile, and return to the object of meditation, or return to our task, our daily task, or whatever it is we were doing before we got distracted. These steps need to be done in the same way every single time. So we can't be doing recognize, relax, smile, repeat, or something like that, and then miss out the release step halfway or something like that. I'm just trying to, um, put things into perspective of how so important it is to make sure that we are just retraining the brain each time in exactly the same way every time. So Q then asked, this sounds encouraging. Can anyone at any age play this game? And this is a very interesting question, because sometimes, people do have doubts, maybe people of older age, not suitable, or kids that are too young, not suitable. So very interesting question. Venerable Khema replies, there is no age limit to play the Nevermind game. It can be taught to old and young alike. The initial seed idea for this game came to me from witnessing how families in Thailand taught their children to lighten up and let go of anything that felt too heavy to carry around in their mind. So very recently, I came across, I didn't know much about Thailand, but I came across a different community in South Korea. Not so much community in city, but they live a little bit further out. And they even have a kind of slang word for, this situation, this term of never mind, which is quite different to their normal language and very similar. Just means to just never mind, whatever it is, too heavy, too challenging, never mind, let it drop. So it's a very common term across many different cultures and communities. So let's continue here. I found out that Thai monastics originated this idea long back to encourage people in their country to let go of anything stressful by saying the expression "mai pen lai." So I hope I pronounced that okay for our Thai listeners. Whenever things get too serious in life, you can use this never mind technique to change your situation fast by letting go of heavy emotions and tightness in your mind and smiling into whatever is happening instead. We keep forgetting that everything is changing around us all the time. So that's actually very important to understand, that nothing stays the same. And this really is the impermanence the Buddha was talking about, what he called anicca. He experienced that all arising states in the mind are impermanent. This means that each state we experience inside us has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It will always pass away. So, why hold on to it and cause yourself more pain? If we stop giving it attention and let it go by with a smile, any discomfort will disappear faster. Try it. And Q says, I will. Well, that's great. Venerable Kema then continues. When you choose to play the Nevermind game, you don't have to stop your life and go away to sit in meditation. This game is a practice you keep going anywhere, anytime, in everything you do. You can keep it with you at all times, and it will surely change the outcome of any troublesome situation by turning it in a positive direction, because you will stop holding on to any negative arising feelings. You will replace them with a sense of humor and a smile. You now know that no matter how difficult a task is, it will eventually end. Saying never mind is a quick fix when it comes to letting go of stress, relaxing mind, and replacing it with a smile. You ask, why a sense of humor? So, why is sense of humor useful, or why would we even bother? Venerable Kema then explains. It helps to develop a sense of humor within yourself about all this. Don't stop if you make a mistake. If you continue doing this practice, uplifted joy will naturally come up in your mind. Instead of living with tightness, mind will feel much lighter and clearer. You are making the choice to never mind distractions that cause your attention and replace them with wholesome feelings instead. This is how the Nevermind game brings about a change. So then Q asks, what is a wholesome feeling? It's a very interesting question. And it's good to ask such a question, because we may have our own different perceptions about what wholesome feeling is or should be. And so Venerable Kema further explains what a wholesome feeling is. Whenever we take something personally, it is unwholesome because it causes tension and tightness in the mind. Wow. So this sentence is actually quite profound. Whenever we take something personally, and those of us who remember when we were talking a couple of lessons back about right view of the Noble Eightfold Path, or harmonious perspective, and what that really means is to not take things personally, not take anything personally. So not having that harmonious perspective is unwholesome, which is quite profound. Let's continue. But when we take things less personally, there is less tension in the mind, and we experience more uplifting feelings and even joy in the mind. The Buddha said that there are only 4 wholesome feelings that are worth cultivating in this world. Only 4. Loving kindness, compassion, appreciative joy, and equanimity. So the 4 Brahma Viharas. Here, 4 Brahma Viharas are the only 4 wholesome feelings worth cultivating. And they are wholesome because they give rise to peaceful and calm states within us. By aligning our mind more often with these 4 states, we are creating a heavenly feeling inside ourselves, which can do no harm to us or anyone else. Thank you, ask. What is equanimity? Venerable Khema explains, equanimity means a very balanced mind that does not shift into reactive emotional states. Wow. Okay. Might seem pretty hard to do, hey? But let's see. Let's move on to the next question. When you feel tension causing exhaustion in your life, and that suffering begins to hurt more and more, do you ever have a question come up in your mind like, hey, what's really going on here? With me, so yeah, it's quite interesting if someone is able to even ask that question. But most of us, when we are feeling tension, we get caught up in the tension. Indeed, we start to feel as though the whole body is exhausted, really tired, heaviness. In some cases, the whole body is drooping. At least facial expression is also drooping. And that's the very fact that we're not able to let that tension tightness, recognize it and then release, or never mind, let it go and come back. So what does Venerable Khema explain further to that question? Yes, Q. I used to have this question until I began this practice. Instead of personally holding on to what I want or don't want, now I can say, never mind instead. Holding on is like holding a hot, burning coal in your hand. Saying never mind is a fast way out. Try it. I give you permission to do this. It's your choice. All human beings are powerful enough to choose to stop for a tiny moment when they feel caught by the tension or arising anger or revenge over the past or anxiety for the future. They can stop and say, never mind, let it go, relax, smile instead. You can do it too. Pretty soon, your mind will start to pay attention and will follow this new inclination. Just at the moment mind starts to feel heavy, it will let go by itself. It will stop identifying itself with the suffering. It will stop taking ownership of it. Basically, it will start to see that the tension and tightness, the distraction, whatever it is, the hindrance that arises is not me, is not mine, is not myself. Q says, smart move, indeed. Venerable Khema's reply. There is one more thing to remember while you are practicing. it's important to give up carrying around blame. Blaming yourself is a runaway thinking called mental proliferation happening in your mind. Mental proliferation is when mind keeps on thinking and over analyzing an unsolvable point. Mhm. So this is a habitual tendency that I'm pretty sure most of us or all of us do experience at some point. We all have thoughts that run around all day long in our head like a broken record. The brain fires a lot of neurons in the head. But when we keep on thinking about one thing that happened in life, we are carrying it around like we put it into the trunk of a car and can't travel without it. Our car feels heavier the more stuff we carry around in it. Mental proliferation taxes the mind in a similar way by overburdening it with past stories of sorrow and suffering. So does that sound familiar to some of us? Time to change, huh? Okay, so Q asks, so we should try to stay in the here and now time, right? Venerable Kema replies, yes. It is time to keep your practice going and allow your smiles to help you realize that you don't have to take whatever is going on so personally. You can let it go after it happens. Lay it aside. You can choose to let go of disappointment in yourself. Each time you let go of a past memory that was bothering your mind, you will feel lighter. This one word, never mind, opens up possibilities for real change to happen in life. That is the simplistic beauty of this word. Never mind. Q says, got it. Venerable Kema then replies, the Nevermind game goes one step further by turning this meditation practice into a lifelong game. So this is a lifelong game. This is not a one-time only, one-off only practice. It's something that we're going to retrain our brain to be able to automatically do this for life. Continuous practice is what keeps you from slipping in the direction of disturbing emotional states. It gives you an escape plan to let go of any heaviness, relax your brain, and bring up a more balanced feeling in your smile as you return to your life. You just have to remember to say the word, never mind, and that will start your cycle going. This practice will not take long to imprint on your mind. Mind has been waiting a long time to discover a more comfortable ride through life. Now, Q asks, what's really happening each time you say never mind? Venerable Kema replies, good question. You are letting go of unwholesome thoughts like hatred, ill will, discontent, or aversion, and replacing them with more wholesome thoughts like loving kindness, compassion, altruistic joy, and equanimity. I shared this practice with an elderly woman after she had a traumatic life experience. Although she had learned a loving kindness meditation practice, she wanted something simple she could take into her daily life with her family. The Nevermind game helped her keep her smile throughout her day and brought laughter back into her home. It changed her outlook on life, and now she smiles a lot more while bringing joy into the lives of others. When I realized how this game could be played by anyone, no matter what they had undergone in life and whether they had meditation practice or not, this practice got its current name, the Nevermind game. So now it's your turn to play the game. Oh, so we're going to stop here for now for this week. And that was chapter 2 of the book. Any questions, comments? I'd like to invite those of you who are here today. Would anyone like to share? Has anyone tried this in their day-to-day so far? Would anyone like to share their experience? Doesn't matter if it's simple, doesn't have to be something very complicated. Anyone? Jay, do you have anything to share? Can I invite you to perhaps share with us a little bit? No? How about Dr. Weera? If it's convenient. We can't hear you, Dr. Weera. You're very soft. Perhaps your microphone. Yes, we can hear you now. Thank you, Dr. Weera. Nice to hear from you. Is there anything you would like to share? Whether it's your experience using the 6 Rs or the steps we talked about earlier?
Perhaps next time, not this time.
Okay, no worries. All good. Paul or Pi, would you like to share anything? Your own experience that might be beneficial to others? You never know. No? Anyone has any questions or comments? No? If not, and if people are happy with today's session, then we can conclude here. I'm just going to see if we can do the sharing of merits. Let me try and share this, the text. Okay. Going to share the text here. Okay. Okay, so I invite everyone to share merits together. May suffering ones be suffering free and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit that we have thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Hey, thank you all for your time and for listening in. Appreciate it very much. I'm not sure yet what next Sunday's topic will be, whether it be continuing this book or another topic. If anyone has any suggestions, feel free to either drop me a text. Continue the book would be good. Okay. Yep. We can continue with the readings of this book. That'd be fine. Yeah, if everyone's happy with that. Okay. So thank you again. I wish everyone a very good day and keep smiling.
Same to
All
you.
right. Sadhu. Have a nice day,
Bye.
everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.